Thank you, ma'am. I now call upon Ms. Dania, EI Coordinator, TSA Ainambakam, to felicitate Mr. Man Singh. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Singh Subba hails from Dehradun, Uttarakhand. He has been associated with education for over 2 decades, spanning various disciplines in the field of education. He has been an English teacher, which was his and will continue to be his passion. He is a man of books who believes that literature builds a person's character and decides his entire episode of life. He has been teaching and administering various educational boards ranging from CBSE, CISCE, IB, CIE, and APE. Over the years, he has transformed himself into a staunch educationist with enormous determination to improve the quality of education. He has headed various schools, holding positions including that of vice principal, acting principal, head of school, and academic advisor. His passion for experiencing a qualitative improvement in teaching learning led him to become teacher trainer, especially in English, which has noticeably gone through modification and transformation, helping the facilitators to modify, they transform themselves too in the process. Currently, he is a principal at the Schram Academy, Ainambakam, which follows the Cambridge syllabus and teaches English to AS and A-level learners. Today, he is going to present a session about the global perspective, which is a fast gaining popularity as a subject in the Cambridge curriculum. Sir, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, so I think everyone knows what global perspective. We have been listening about it, we have been hearing about it. How many of you know very well about this global perspective? Can you raise your hands, those who know very well what's global perspective? And why this idea comes out? Like, first of all, you know what's perspective. I think everyone knows what's perspective. Anyone? Especially, I believe that we as teachers, especially language teachers, they should know the meaning of everything distinctly. Because most of us, we know what it means. But one asks you the meaning distinctly, you would get confused. Means you cannot express the exact meaning of that word. That's the problem with all language teachers, especially English. So when you say perspective, you all have an idea in mind that what's perspective, but can you tell what's perspective? If someone says, okay, tell in few words. Yes, sir.
Point of view.
Simple point of view. Okay? How you look at the things. Now, when we talk about global perspective, there was time when we were talking about the local perspective or national perspective, regional perspective, but we never thought about the world. We were only limited to ourselves. We thought things, maybe it was related to our India only, or our local area, but we did not think about many various things which were developing slowly, and we can say that it was eating into the system of the education. Now, when we're in 21st century, teaching has totally changed. Its concept has changed, methods have changed. Now, it's not a national thing, it's a global thing now. So we talk about global perspective because when we teach our students, we need to teach our students how to get connected to the world. Cambridge has started this global perspective. Cambridge says it's global perspective, but I think in all the boards, they have started things with different names. There may be 1 or 2 differences in the skills. So before I start this global perspective, this session, you should know what is global citizenship and why do we need global citizens. There's a small clip about global citizens or citizenship.
Welcome to Introduction to Global Citizenship. Do you think of yourself as a global citizen? Who is a global citizen? And what is global citizenship? Some people say that global citizenship doesn't exist because there's no such thing as a global passport. Others say that to think of yourself as a global citizen is to know that your actions within your own home, neighborhood, city, or country impact and are impacted by global forces. This course will help you develop your own ideas about what it means to be a global citizen. You are asked to consider the importance of learning about inequalities that affect your immediate community and nation, and how they're related to inequalities in geographically distant locations. We will discuss questions such as, what can national citizenship teach us about global citizenship? How do economic, political, and socio-cultural forces of globalization impact people's fundamental human rights? How do global politics affect people's access to shelter? Are we aware of the potential local, national, and global impacts of our own and other people's actions in a world globally interconnected? How are our choices about the foods we purchase or the clothes we wear are linked to what is happening in our neighborhood, country, or across the world? The activities and assignments in this course will help you develop your critical reasoning skills and provide you with opportunities to reflect your thoughts and beliefs about social justice in a globalized world. You will be able to analyze the role each of us could play in helping people, both near and far, gain or maintain access to their fundamental human rights. Best of luck, and let's get started.
Okay, so most of you know about this thing, but just for introduction. So we need to raise our students as global citizens. And first of all, to do that, we have to meet the challenges of 21st century. And we have been talking about challenges of 21st century since long, every day. And we know that if you do not meet those challenges, our purpose of teaching is useless, a waste. Cambridge Global Perspective has its own set of challenges, and that is integrated into the curriculum. First of all, we'll see that the things which are trending now, which are recent survey of things, 60% of secondary students ranked understanding different cultures, the most important subject area ahead of writing skills and math skills. Nearly all, 98% of students in a recent survey agreed that a strong understanding of world history and events is critical to developing solutions to a global problem. Research shows that students who learn about global issues are more than twice as likely to see the importance of personally taking social action. 9 out of 10 students, teachers, and industry leaders recognize the jobs are becoming increasingly international. The number of multinational companies or corporations rose from 7,000 in 1990s to 80,000 in 2017. Only one half of students in the US study a world language compared to Europe, where 90% of students study at least one foreign language. So all this data shows one thing, that we cannot get back, or I think it's John Dewey who says that if we teach our student like we taught in the past, we rob them of their future. You must have heard this. So that means we cannot stick to the kind of strategy methods that we were doing in the past. So we have to go along with what's required in the new things. Like in the 21st century world where jobs can be shipped wherever there is an internet connection. A child born in Dallas is now competing with a child in New Delhi. Barack Obama, in one of his speeches said this. What we need to create in our future workforce is a nation to little worlders instead of little Indians, Englanders, or Africans. Who understands the world and how it works. And developing a global perspective is increasingly vital to thriving in the 21st century. Thriving, very important word. When thriving comes, it means how we struggle. We do the things to survive, sustain, and succeed in the life. Introduction, what is global perspective? You can read, a global perspective is a comprehensive lens through which you see the world around you. It shapes you, how you perceive and understand your own identity and the identity of the people you interact with. As you begin to understand what goes into shaping culture, a global mindset also encompasses the understanding of globalization and how interconnected each region of the world is economically, politically, and socially. I think the idea is very clear. Then comes globalization. It is a trend towards increasing international interconnectedness among people and entities worldwide. People in the world, things happening in the world. If we are not connected with the world, we will never be able to know what's happening around. Wikipedia defines it as the process of international integration arising from the interchange of world views, products, ideas, and other aspects of culture. And why is a global mindset important? We live in a global world, a globalized world. If you want to be successful, it's vital to see and understand how the world works and how we are all interconnected through trade, media, the internet, travel, and politics, broadening your sense of normal, your idea of how to interact with others, seeing a company, people, different regions of the world. So this is actually why we are looking at the global perspective or global citizenship. We read in the newspaper, we see in the news, people being killed, lynching cases, or people from one country fleeing to another country because of the environment is terroristic environment, it's a war-stricken country, or it is politically upheaval-stricken place. So people, they are restless and moving from one country to another country, one place to another place. And if you look at the whole thing, what is the reason for this? Why this is happening? How can man be so cruel? We all are human beings. Why everyone? We all are human beings, but why we do not exhibit the same kind of characteristics, same kind of traits? Someone is criminal, someone is a very kind person, someone is very, very intelligent person who understands things. The simple reason is the empathy, We have not developed the feelings, enough feelings. Do you think that you would like others to do the same thing to you, which you do not like? If you want to do something to others, it's basically very simple to see, people do it around. What you like. Suppose you do not like something, say, to be made fun of. But you are happy to make fun of others. You don't want to backbite someone. You don't want someone to backbite you, but you're always backbiting others. Why is this happening? Because we have not developed the feelings. We have not been that strong to feel that if I feel that pinch, why am I doing to others? They also feel the same thing. So that's because we did not develop that feeling. So that's empathy. These are some global perspective that you can see in the internet also. I won't go in detail in this. But yes, of course, I'll go to the global perspective curriculum framework. And these are the 6 areas which the Cambridge has focused on. Research, analysis, evaluation, reflection, collaboration, and communication. And remember, these 6 areas are connected with every subject. This is not a particular subject. This is not an individual subject. These are the skills. When you teach mathematics, when you teach science, when you teach accounting, these things have to be taught. And how it is taught, There's a plan for that. The teachers make the plan how they're going. It can be short-term plan, long-term plan. But when you're teaching, we make sure that these qualities are, these skills are developed. You know, those who teach Cambridge, they know the learner's attribute. The first thing a Cambridge teacher has to understand is learner's attribute. Anyone? Yes? Confident, engaged, reflective, innovative, responsive. Now see, again, the very important thing about the Cambridge is these learners' attributes are given by the Cambridge. If teachers do not have these attributes, the teacher will 100% fail in his teaching. Number one. If these are the attributes of a learner, same attribute a teacher also must have. Otherwise, the teacher will never be able to teach. For example, say you're teaching small paragraph writing. Mostly what happens are English teachers, generally it happens, when they say, okay, today we are studying how to write a descriptive piece. So they will come in the class, they'll give some instructions, they'll tell them do this, 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 and then, okay, this is the question, do it from home, it's a homework, and I'll check tomorrow. So what happens, the child did not understand anything. He doesn't know how to start. If you ask a child to write something, the first thing he will feel is that, how to start? And he will get stuck there for maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and when only 10 minutes are left, then he starts scribbling quick, fast, and nothing comes out. So did the teacher teach how to start? First, teacher has to do it herself or himself on the board. Especially language teachers, I'm telling you, first, you should develop the skill of writing and write it. Write one piece yourself and then train your children accordingly. I think those who teach English, they know that the various steps. For everything, even if you're writing a paragraph, you have few technical strategies. You ask them write an essay depending on their different focus words and command words and language effects. They have their different styles. And every piece of information that the question has, there's a distinct technique for teaching. So teachers should know those techniques. For example, in English, how many of you teach story writing? And I know most of you teach story writing by saying that these are the steps. Introduction, this. You tell the steps and then say, okay, you write. The children cannot write. So first of all, you should know, you should teach your children how to begin, because that's where they get stuck. Research, analysis is an examination of data and facts to uncover and understand cause-effect relationships, thus providing basis for problem solving and decision making. I think it's clear. That's what analysis actually we are looking at. And then we have communication. Communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. You know, communication can change the world. Communication has a very strong power. It can change the world. Can you give the example? Anyone? How can it change? The best example I would say is in India, before the War of Independence, I think. You see, the people, they did not have the ways to communicate. But once they started communicating to other places, other states, other towns, they became mobilized. Because they felt we are not the only one who is suffering. There are others too. So we can take the help. The moment the things were communicated, the whole India became one. And they succeeded in the end, you know. So if there was no communication, I think India would have still been under the Britishers. Similarly, if you talk about, say, you want to know the culture of other countries, if you do not know the language of that country, you would never be able to know what exactly is that, what's happening in there, what's the culture. and is it right or wrong? You will not understand, because if you are in a country where the law is everything and you say that that's right, but you see the other countries have the same problem, but they have the right to speak against it. So that's how you get aware about what is wrong, what is right, and you can stand up and talk about it. Research, systematic investigation, investigative process employed to increase or revise current knowledge by discovering new facts. It's also very clear. Collaboration, this is something like, can you tell what is collaboration? Teamwork. Oh, that's a very vague answer. Can you make it a little clear? Inculcate the subjects, topics. Anyone else? Thinking together. Working together. Okay. Collaboration is defined as the condition that occurs when two or more people or organizations join forces over a long period of time to produce something neither can achieve alone. Means if something which one cannot achieve, if you combine your forces with others, as a combined force, you can achieve that. So that is collaboration. Evaluation, you know it very well. Now this is one particular example of how we go with this, say, stage 2. So this is 6: research, analysis, evaluation, reflection, collaboration, communication. This is one simple example of how we deal with the GP. Research work, and if you see the books, the books have the different topics, and every topic has a curriculum framework and everything. So research work, how do you ask focused questions about a given topic? This is the method of developing these skills. Ask focused questions about a given topic. This first one, if you do these things with the chapter, that means you are working on research. You are developing research skill. It can be from any chapter which you have. You have to choose this. Suppose you're teaching the chapter 1, which is, say, in grade 1, animals. So these are the things that you can do that develop the research skill. Analysis. Okay, see. So this I can send if you want. I can send on email because I don't want to take much time. So these are the things actually you have to do if you want to actually practice this Cambridge global perspective thing into your curriculum. This can be used with your mathematics, with your science, your languages, any subject. These are the things that will develop this skill. The example here you can see stage 1 is a long-term plan. Communication, these are 6 skills that we're talking about. And if you take the stage 1 book, English book. So people young and old, growing and growing up. So in communication, suppose you picked up the chapter people young and old. So you are talking about the growing and growing up, analysis part, water, food and family. These are named chapters all. And in different chapters, different skills are being developed. You have to plan, it's a long-term plan. Generally we go with these short-term plans. The global education should no longer be seen as an add-on to school curriculums. Instead, it should be easily integrated into core curriculums by creating interdisciplinary programs. You know what is interdisciplinary programs? It is the same thing like we are talking about GP, all the things in all the subjects, and we are combining them together and we are developing that skills. Now, I'll show you one video which is about the Cambridge global perspective.
Cambridge Global Perspectives is a unique cross-curricular course that encourages learners to explore global issues from different viewpoints.
The world is a global village. People are increasingly interconnected and have to work together with people from other parts of the world, either virtually or in a real team. And so education these days has to emphasize those aspects.
Global Perspectives promotes independent learning as schools worldwide collaborate on projects to investigate, question, and share information on global issues.
Basically, they take an embryonic stem cell and they can add it to anywhere in your body, so the major body.
It's important for learners to share perspectives with others and to take on board other perspectives, because otherwise they just have their own narrow view of what might be happening in their world.
Learners are encouraged to independently research a global topic from a local, national, and international perspective.
Genetic modification can promise increased crop yields and resistance to pesticides.
I think it was in China, they've created like this weird type of rice.
Using it so they can have like more vitamins inside the rice.
So you're saying that the vitamin A, they're actually forcing vitamin A into
the rice. So
into the
people
rice,
who
yeah?
can't afford like stuff that's needed for a balanced diet, like what we would have, they're putting it in so they can.
Cambridge has developed a shared learning area for schools. This online learning platform allows learners and teachers to share information on global issues.
One of the good things about this rice is they've actually made it freely available for countries because it's part of a... one of the main skills that Global Perspectives gives me is cross-cultural collaboration. So we're working with a school in the UK, and by doing that, it helps me to see and understand different perspectives on issues.
We're using the global learning platform to collaborate with people in New Zealand.
Building a global community to work with is an exciting way to explore the wider world and connect with others.
Global Perspectives allows students to study outside of their own comfort zone. They cover subjects which often they would never look at, perhaps until later in life, and I would hope that they are better people as a result of looking and studying this subject.
I think the core skill that this course allows my students to learn is to become independent.
Cambridge offers a range of teaching and learning resources to support teachers and learners with their Global Perspectives studies.
Learners from different countries will be able to communicate with each other by using virtual learning tools, by actually going into the platform and easily from their own homes or from their schools being able to access not only materials and resources for their work but also the opinions and perspectives of other people.
Within the shared learning area, key features make it easier to support classroom learning and link with schools worldwide. These include portfolios, online courses, and online communities. Learners and teachers can use portfolios to organize their project materials such as web pages, videos, and other multimedia. It keeps research safe and in one location.
They can actually upload documents, they can upload videos, media, and various other artifacts that they need for their individual research and also for their projects. It also means that they can communicate more easily with other schools in a safe environment which their teachers can keep track of.
It's such a good way of connecting with people because so you can share information and not just the information you've found. You can upload pictures and videos, and if we wanted to interview like a farmer, or we could interview them and video it and then upload it onto the portfolio.
Online courses provide a structured set of learning resources and activities for use in the classroom or at home. The courses make use of multimedia resources that appeal to learners. Learners can explore real-world examples with links to online source material. Activities are provided to facilitate self-reflection and enable learners to review their own understanding.
Cambridge really has turned itself into like an information hub and to get in contact with institutions and directly with students who might be covering the very same topics that my students will be covering.
Groups from all over the world network and interact with each other by creating their own online communities.
Bias, for example. Doesn't that raise an issue because it's sort of the difference?
There's issues everywhere.
Cambridge Global Perspectives removes traditional teaching boundaries and gives learners the freedom to lead the way on their own learning journey.
I enjoy teaching the Cambridge course because it is academically challenging, it's innovative, and it allows for collaboration.
This is the most creative course I've ever taught. For me, the joy of doing this course, it motivates, I hope, my students, but it motivates me. It's inspirational.
The classroom context is an incredibly powerful context in which to communicate the importance of thinking and acting globally.
Cambridge Global Perspectives is available to study at Cambridge IGCSE, Cambridge International AS level, and as a Cambridge Pre-U qualification. To find out more, contact us.
Okay, so this is all about the Cambridge Global Perspective. So what we can say a few lines is that, it's not only for Cambridge, other boards can also, kind of integrate things in their curriculum. With that, there may not be a written examination like we have in Cambridge, but still it will definitely, help children to, get better things in their lives. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, some question? Yeah, anyone who wants to ask any question? Yeah.
Could you help us understand how global perspectives can be used in problem solving? Can you explain?
Yes, problem solving. See, first, for example, we have here analysis. One thing which is called analysis. So when the children, they study, suppose they're studying, say, mathematics. Okay, and mathematics, we have data representation. So when the teacher starts, because he's teaching data representation, maybe the curve or graph or something, so now he can relate it with what's happening in the world. For example, say, how many students or what's the level of poverty in different countries? Or why it's happening? They can go further. And after they make the data, they can compare with other countries. And they can understand, so that country is really, really very poor, and I think we should, as a whole world, do something. So this is the beginning of development of the empathy. And similarly, but of course, it has to be from very little stage. Towards the end, they may understand, but they may not be able to contribute. So from the mathematics through the statistics and through the data collection, the teacher has taken the child to what's happening in the world. So that's how global perspective goes. Or if you take language, yes. Yeah, and if you take language, and language is something that helps in culture. And for example, there may be many cultures, many things that are very good for the human beings, but we do not know about that. But when you are doing this Cambridge perspective, then children are supposed to do the research work and they're supposed to connect themselves to the different part of the world. So now you can see that, they can get to those different cultures. They can understand the values. And while language, you see that, I think I read somewhere, in coming time, English will not be that strong language as Mandarin. And these days, people are more into learning Mandarin. Now, there was a time when Latin was the main language, and then the time came when the local language was the main language. People did not know what's English. Then English took over, and then now maybe Mandarin will take over. So why do we need to study all these things? We cannot stay here and stick to saying that, okay, Hindi is my language, so I will not learn anything else. So we need to learn everything according to the requirement of the world. Yes, sir.
So I'm really fascinated about this idea that we have so many platforms already in place that enable engaging with global perspectives. I'm sorry, I'll repeat myself. I'm fascinated by the fact that we have so many platforms already in place. Social networking sites like LinkedIn, and then I'm almost scared to say Facebook, but yes, Facebook. But you have all these platforms available. Would I then be wrong to say that we could allow children controlled use of these platforms and tools to help them gain global perspectives, build global perspectives, use it as a tool for teaching and learning as well?
That is one element which is must for global perspective. Without communication, without internet, without research, they cannot research the things. Okay, of course, because wait a moment, you asking something after this? Because, number one, like ma'am said yesterday, creeping over the fact that our children are too much into digital things, too much into phones and gadgets, crying over it and scolding them, it will be useless effort. We cannot control it at any cost. The things have gone beyond our limit. So you cannot control your children. You cannot ask them to stop using them. The only thing we can do is that we can develop into them the understanding, the effects of overuse or controlled use, or some other methods where we can, tempt them to do that. For example, you can say, okay, if you will get your mobile phone for 2 hours if you complete this work. Okay, but not more than that. So that's how. So now we have to use the controlled access of all these websites. Because see, this is the only way where you can access to anywhere in the world. Even library books won't be enough to do that thing. Teachers play a very important role here. That's why they are called facilitators. Yes, ma'am.
See, after I am exposed to global perspectives, now assume.
No, as a student, I have gone through this course, Global Perspectives. So later on in life, if there's some issue and there's a group of people who are wanting to find a way out, now say in that group, each one has a different perspective and it's allowed. So how do we arrive at the solution if all of us think differently and if all our views are not the same?
Yes,
and
okay.
For example, if we discuss about civil war, say we talk about Article 370, which is dropped, and say 100 of us in this hall, we have 100 different ideas about it. So how do we arrive at a conclusion, or how do we find a common point of agreement?
Yes, this is, see, we are talking about this question at this moment. Okay, at this moment we have people with different ideas, and at this moment we have not studied these things since our young age. So by this time, no one has developed that sensitivity, that empathy. So now it'll be difficult now to be convinced over one point, but it would be easy if we have had studied this since very young age. So by this time, maybe most of us would be sensitive enough to understand. But at this stage, we are not sensitive enough to understand because we have not been through those exercises. So now it will be difficult. Maybe that's why, global perspective, it's a futuristic idea, so that we don't have such kind of things in future, where the conflict will arise and they don't come to some solution. And solution which is logical, which is for benefit for everyone. So when we know that, okay, this is for benefit for everyone, and we understand that, we'll agree with that. If you don't understand that, that means we are not sensitive enough to understand that. And that quality has not been developed so far. So these quality, and still today, I don't think that we have 100% people having all these things and developed in them. So that is why it is it's gaining popularity, because it's a futuristic idea, thinking that in future, if these things are developed in every student, there would be a lot of problems which won't create a difficulty in the world. Yes. Mike.
So when the facilitator is inculcating about the global perspectives, and it's only that the sharing of idea, or the teacher is not going to give a conclusion about a particular topic. For example, if I'm going to talk about a water crisis, then all the children over there are going to share their ideas, but the teacher not going to give a conclusion, is it? It's just a sharing of idea in the class.
See, one thing, teacher will hold his or her opinion until the end. But teacher will facilitate the surroundings atmosphere to find out what is water crisis, why it is happening, what are the evil effects of these things. And this way, when they go slowly towards, say, this water crisis, if water crisis happens, this is going to happen. If this happens, and this is going to happen, in the end, they may feel that, oh my God, this is very bad. I mean, after 1 year, after 2 years, 3 years, we will not have water. What will you do? So they will start having that feeling. Okay, so now, maybe the child would be able to tell you, oh yes, it's not good. Ma'am, we can do this. Or ma'am, we can do that. Ma'am, this is a solution. So they may come up with something. Then you can conclude in the end, because they will talk, they will discuss, they will find out. That's what all these things are. And in the end, they'll come up with some idea. So this is how they learn, things develop. So teachers can hold their opinions till end until the child is through with the investigation, research, planning, and data presentation and everything. Any other question?
Maybe the children will start with the local perspective and then national, as you started in the beginning. But when we look at the global perspective, then maybe they will come out with wonderful solutions looking at some other countries.
Yes.
And that's how the global perspective, they will gain knowledge about it and they will be enthusiastic to look further and do more research.
Yes.
Is this the way we conclude?
That's the way we conclude. For example, you can see these days, the scientists are working on water problem. And like in England, I think it's England where they have started selling the water balls. You know, you just go to the market, buy one water ball and it's okay. But it's not in the whole world, it's all in England. So similarly, some countries are developed, I think this Korea, which is developing the system of fire safety in the schools. Where it's just like, I think you must have seen some videos where, you just have to jump in and you're out of the building. You don't have to do anything, just jump in. Because we had many cases, like recently we had one case in Gujarat or somewhere where many children were killed because they did not know how to save themselves. Rather than being patient, they became panicky. If we can teach our children to become patient during this crisis, which generally doesn't happen because we get panicky very soon. If you can control over those panics, it gives them some little time to think, okay, I can do this. It's an earthquake, I'll quickly run and stand under a pillar. But if he's already panicked, he won't move from his place or her place. So we have to train them how to get rid of this panic situation, how to be patient. So I think these things, the children died there because they were so panicky, without thinking, they jumped from the window. And these things, but if they can be told how to be patient, they have to build that strength. Something, whatever is going to be happening, it'll be okay, fine, positive, relax, and find a solution. So that's what we have to. And when the children will react from other children, in the Cambridge website, even teachers can connect to the teachers in the world. The students can connect to the students in the world, but that you have to be willingness. And you should have the time. You should take some time rather than playing around with your mobile gadgets and other things. If you can connect yourself to the students all over the world, ask your questions, exchange ideas, that will be much, much better. But that's what actually not happening. The teachers, I think, they are not connected yet. Generally, all Cambridge teachers, they are connected. And there is one website, I think I told you, for Cambridge teachers, which is called Marked by Teachers, MBT, which is a website made by only Cambridge teachers and Cambridge examiners, where you can get the solutions and help of many subjects. But that is paid site, remember. It will cost you around 800 to 1,000 rupees per month. But it's a very beautiful website for all subjects. Okay, so this is what the global perspective is. There are too many things to talk about global perspective, especially the teaching methods, strategies, planning. I think even one day will be less for this. But today it's only an eye-opener. So thank you for opening your eyes.
Thank you, sir. for really making this an eye-opener to us all.